Hey everyone, Ice King here, and I am joined by special guest Party Foul Gaming. Say hello.
Hey, how's it going? Happy to be here.
So
Happy to
today,
be sorry, I fucked
um,
that up.
it's okay. Fuck it. I don't care. I'm leaving this in. This is being in. Um, Today here with Party Foul Gaming, I challenged him to a painting challenge, a palette, limited palette of like 5 to 6 colors, and a time challenge of 6 hours to paint the Mage Hunter Commander mini crate. And the idea behind that was you get a cool model, well, let's get it on the table, painted as fast as you can. And yes,
And you know what? You're killing me here with this time limit. I'm like the slowest painter who uses 101 paints per mini, and you're making me paint Dusk, which is like the one army I do not paint for MK4.
that's the
So
best part. I
like a
tricked you.
triple threat. Tricked me. I was deceived.
Yeah.
But yeah, happy to be here, and we're gonna give it a shot. Try something a little new.
Yep. And so what we're going to do is we're going to go into my painting, what I did and how I did it, what my process behind it was, and then we'll cut to his. And at the end, we'll have some beautiful B-roll for you, and we will come back at the end and talk about how the challenge went.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Yep. See you in the painting.
All right. So starting off, we got primed and zenithal. And I'm going in with my favorite E3 maroon color, sanguine base. Getting nice coverage. It's a very thin paint. Then just kind of punch up the red a little bit. I grabbed Scarlet Red by Vallejo, and you can see it becomes a really rich red. Just trying to catch it from the top. Just get in all little areas of flaps. And then switching over, I'm gonna block in a lot of the grays. I figure this is gonna be my accent color. Red and gray, kind of a white armor. So starting off a little darker. Just kind of grabbing everything right now. You can see in this next clip, that's the mini, just with the base done. Blocked out all the grays, everything looking nice and sharp. Now, this is gonna be kind of my third color, or actually I'm picking up the whites here. Everything's a little brighter. I'm slowly mixing in, it's an ink. Mixing with my grays, and look, nice pop of white armor. Trying to catch all the edges. And this is where I come in with my third color. And so I've decided turquoise, a nice turquoise from Vallejo, is going to be that alternate to the red, the maroon. And this is where I'm going to mix in the two colors together, the red and the turquoise, and that's going to give my skin color. I'm going to mix that with the white as well, and slowly build it all up. You can see, pop! We got a nice skin tone that is made from our base colors. And it's looking pretty good. I'm just kind of going in now and just grabbing a little bit of the edges, a little bit of the highlights here and there. I was working my way up. I'm pushing and pulling. And now, the gray's a little bit much, so I'm going to take my turquoise, and I've decided that spread it around. It's going to be all the little straps and buckles and everything that's not armor is going to become that turquoise color. Just grabbing all the little edges, it's a little bit of a base. And just really kind of blocking in that color. And now I'm just going back in. The turquoise was a little bit dark, so I'm going in with a little brighter blue, a greeny blue, and just starting to pick out where the highlights are. Nothing too fancy right now, just kind of squeezing it in between or on the ridges of the belts and the straps. Give it a little bit more of a blue color. Still using that dark tone and not mixing in any whites. This is a completely different color, but still staying within our three: gray, white, and the blue and the red. And this is again, bringing up that color. So taking that color, mixing it with our white ink, a little bit at a time, and grabbing the edges. Mixing a little bit of the color in between as well. Just making everything pop. And then here is my first attempt, I think, at glazing on some nice orange. Really the red, although it was nice and saturated, it needed an edge highlight. And so by using a little bit of Vallejo orange fire, really thinned down a nice glaze, it would give it a little bit more of that pop of color. Just kind of catching the edges and the ridges right at the highest points. It's really thin. You can see it's watered down and then it dries almost instantly. So I have to go over it a few times to get that nice orange color. But eventually it gets there and it's really rich and it kind of brings out the red a little bit more than it's just the stark red and maroon. And here we are. You can see that orange really pops. I did it less on the back, but you can see that big flowy cape. Nice orange tint to it. And then last but not least, I'm going to do something crazy because I'm using a limited palette, and I'm going to do non-metallic metal swords with that blue turquoise. So I have my dark colors. I think I've mixed in a little bit of the black into that bluey turquoise. And the really nice part about this turquoise, it is so thin that once I throw in a few highlights, I can just glaze that over top and it does all the work for me. It blends for me. I don't have a lot of experience with non-metallic metals, so it was a little bit of a challenge. It was like an added challenge within the challenge. You're just grabbing a couple little highlights, looking at where I think the brightest is going to be. And then I'll keep popping that up until it's about white, and then I'll glaze in that transition between the dark and the white with some turquoise. That's it.
All right, it's my turn to see my painting. Starting out with the gray unprimed model, just blue tacked on the base to get a feel for how big the base was, how he was on the base. This is kind of where I'm thinking, oh, how do I want to do the base and all that stuff? Let's switch to the, oh, well, maybe. There we go. Cool. Zenithal model, put him on a cork base, keep it simple. We're on that time crunch. Here I'm kind of going over where the direction of the Zenithal was going, where I wanted the light to come from. And that was the big direction that's the point of the Zenithal, is to establish those highlights, establish the light direction. Here's my 3 core colors: turquoise, fluorescent pink, and neutral gray. This is where you introduce sponge chop. Taking the darkest of my turquoises that I have in my a million paints, and I'm sponging it into the dark area specifically. And then now we have all that white paint that won't get covered up with a sponge. We're using Raging Sea from Army Painter Speed Paint, and we're going to cover the whole model. And you can see I tested it there on the base just to make sure it was the right color I wanted. And you can see right there is where the effect shows through under. Now the paint's dried, going in with the turquoise paint and then sponging that on top for the highlights. And then going to do a highest highlight of Neptune Glow, which is just another brighter turquoise paint. But using that normal sponge technique from my Condor video and just kind of going over top. The whole sponge top thing comes from having that base layer underneath and then going into the speed paint, which tints the whole model with leaving some of that darker sponge that we did before in the shadows to show through, because it being a different shade than the speed paint. And yeah, just applying that brightest paint wherever in the highlights are, just to get that really textured sponge effect. And it really does a really good job of getting the quickness of the blue and establishing solid color direction and solid highlights super quick and super fun. And there was your crash course on sponge chop. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Yeah, just adding that final highlight of Neptune Glow right here. This is like the peak highlight on top of the turquoise. It's a very drastic change, but the idea of the drastic changes is to help with the speed of the model and the whole time limit challenge we're going for. Going in with some Pro Acryl Dark Hot Pink as our base coat for the fluorescent pink. Picking out all the buckles, all the gems, all the things we're going to want pink. Now picking out our other main color. You'll have to excuse a lot of this footage from now on. It's going to be taken from stream, so the bottom left corner will be what that is. Picking out all the cloth and the armor, that's neutral gray. Using Shadow Flesh from Pro Acryl as a base color for the flesh. And then this is just dark neutral gray, or neutral gray mixed with black, painted on the base. Kind of jumping around a little bit here, but that was kind of the point of the challenge, is just paint things quickly as other things dry. Covering the gray, doing a very simple just black wash with the Pro Acryl black wash on all the grays, and then they're done. Mixing Shadow Flesh and Tan Flesh to build up our next layer of highlights. As you can see here, the footage is not perfect. And working all the way up through Tan Flesh, and there's our finished skin. Leaving that shadow part of the face from the zenithal direction we had earlier shadowed, and it kind of adds more to the contrast of the model. To add some texture and color to the base, we're doing Dark Hot Pink as a dry brush in just the most lit areas. And now we took Dark Hot Pink and mixed it with pink. And then that's where we're getting our first highlight from this. Just picking out all the edges. Super easy, one-step highlights. As you can see here, I'm starting to do some detail on the blade, and I'm just taking some of the black, mixed it with turquoise, and edge highlighting to give the blade this kind of like, almost like obsidian shard look. And here we can see like the really good edge highlight of like what I'm going for. Now we mix in some of that white with the turquoise and just doing little spot highlights and building that edge it up and building everything to a fine point on the blade. And here we're going in with fluorescent pink. Going in with fluorescent pink on top of the pink as a final edge highlight. All right, we are back from painting. You just saw some delicious B-roll. Hope you enjoyed that. So now we're here. Painting's done. My total time was 2.5 to 3 hours. What was your total time?
You're a machine. You're an absolute machine. So we have a 6-hour time limit.
Yeah.
I think I ended on hour 7. there was no way. Those clips are deceiving, but there's so much back and forth and things I tried that I'm like, oh nope, that's not it. And so just kind of going back and forth and saying, okay, I'm committing to this now, which is really hard for me. I kind of paint a little bit everywhere and then bring it all in. But yeah, at least I stayed within the amount of paints or kind of that tone
Yeah.
of 3 colors. But yeah, there was no way I was going to stay within that time limit.
And still, 7 hours for you. Let's start there. That's a good time for you. And then
Well, that is super short.
for me, I also painted drastically different. Like you did glazes and non-metallic metal. I didn't
Well,
do
you
that.
had all the sponging, like
Yeah, the sponging, the blue alone only took 30 minutes.
Oh.
Like
I think my base coats, my blocking in took longer than that.
Exactly. Like and like I didn't go back on anything. If I messed up, I pretty much left it unless it was super egregious. I kind of just committed to everything. I definitely took the speed part of the challenge more to heart
Yeah, and
and
you
like
know what?
let's see how fast I can finish a model. And like I'll say for 3 hours, getting that very stylistic sponge look,
It
that
looks great.
yeah.
It looks great. I think you know what? For being as fast as it was, even for me, I think both of ours they turned out great.
Oh
And
yeah.
you know what? I didn't notice until watching all your footage that I was missing a few pieces on mine. I think a couple of the hilts and parts of the crossbow. But to me, you know, the sculpt was so good that I'm like, oh, but that's just how it's supposed to look.
Yeah. Yeah, no, the missing hilts. I noticed it after you pointed it out to me. I was like, "Oh, yeah, you got like short daggers, not like swords."
No, no. You know what? At the end of the day, I think it was really great. I'm glad you challenged me to do this because you know it pushed me out of my comfort zone and kind of pushed my skills a little bit. Putting
Yeah.
them on a deadline, putting them to the test.
And I think that's a great lesson to take from this is like taking something, being out of your comfort zone, and then learning, even if you didn't do great. Ours, like whatever you take away from that is like you still learn something, even if you didn't do as well as you did, you thought you did.
Oh, you become a better painter with every mini you paint. So
Mhm.
amen to that. It is it's great to be challenged, and I hope we do this again.
Yeah, maybe I guess this is being recorded on the 25th. You'll see this tomorrow on the 26th. On the 27th, we'll see the new mini crate. So maybe the next mini crate, who knows?
Well, could be, could be. Any guesses? Any guesses? Should we
Oh,
wait and see?
let's harbor some bets right now. I'm a gambling man. I don't think it'll
Oh,
be Dusk
well,
again.
well, it's not going to be Signar because that was just the last one.
It
Uh,
could be Chimera
and you know what? Chimera, I think is due. I think Chimera is
because the
due.
last they had was the Ninja Rassic.
Yeah. Kador and Orgoth, you know, they've gotten a lot of love. Signar recently as well. So you
I
know what?
I
You could be right.
Yeah, I could also my backup choice will be Orgoth because all they have is the two classic minis. They don't have a wild one.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be exciting. Let's find out. We'll come
Yep.
back and we'll do this again.
Yep. So thank everybody so much for watching. Thank you, Party Foul, for joining us. Where can they find you on the interwebs?
So we have our Facebook page as well as our new channel. I'm sure you can drop a link to below.
Yep. Links
But
will be below.
otherwise we'll catch you in the next one.
Yep. And I am Ice King. As normal, nothing's changed. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Get us growing. I love it so much. I appreciate it so much. And I will see you all in the next one. See you later. Bye bye.
Bye.